What is going on, y'all? This is the Cave, and I'm here with Football with Oz Austin for episode 61 of Against the Blitz. And we're doing another deep dive episode analysis into week 2 of the NFL football season. I'm going to say this every week just because this is how I feel, but how are we already on week 2? Like, I feel like we just
I
started the
know.
season and it's week
Like
2. How did we get here?
I know. It feels like I'm like about to watch the first game. I don't know. Like I feel like there was so much buildup. It doesn't feel real.
I feel like it doesn't feel real until like week 9. Like I'm sitting here thinking it's the start of the season
Yeah.
until like week 8 or 9, and then I'm like, oh my god, it's week 10, and then it's over.
Like to me, that was
Like,
preseason again. Like that was just another preseason game that just happened. Like it doesn't feel like these are actual stats that people are accumulating now. Like these are real records. Like I had that thought earlier. I was like, oh my god, if this team loses, they're 0-2. Like this is a problem. Like if this team wins, they're 2-0. That's insane. And I was kind of just freaking out. Like this is real. We're in it.
We are, and it's gonna come quick. I mean, it is coming quick, but the end of it will be done fast because I think the settling period that we go through lasts about like a third of the season, and then once that's over, we get like the bulk of it. And then the end of the season is just kind of like, okay, we're getting ready for the playoffs. We know how things are kind of shaking up. So really, the meat and
Yeah.
potatoes is just like a few weeks in the middle of the season. It feels like, but nonetheless, we're going through week 2. And the way we structured this last episode is going to be how we structure it for this episode. We split the games in half. Each of us have a headlining question for every single matchup, and then we will both give our winner and loser, as well as a fantasy/betting prediction. So we will start by, honestly, let's start just by highlighting how we did last week. We're going to keep track of our wins, how many games you got right compared to how many games you got wrong every week, and kind of accumulate it over the course of the season. My pick'ems record right now is 10-6. I picked against the Bills, and they made me pay for it. So that's what I get. That's what I get.
I also picked against the Bills, and I'm very glad to have done so. Because that gave you karma, and it helped the Bills win. So every time that I bet against somebody, I think I did the same because I also bet against the Bengals to win. I had the Browns winning that game.
Did you really?
You were almost right. I was almost right. But I do it every single year. Like they're like 0-6 for like their last, season openers. I kind of had to.
That's fair. I mean, the Colts were also, well, the Colts won, but they were also like 0-11 in their last like 11 week 1 games, which is just a dumb number, but they won in very convincing fashion. So
that was ridiculous.
Yes, it was. And we'll definitely get to that. We're going to, of course, kind of talk about what happened last week as we go throughout and predict these games. So we'll start with Thursday Night Football. We have the Commanders and the Packers. And I had manned this game. And my headlining question for this one was, can Washington's offensive line hold up as well as they did against the Giants in this game against the Packers?
So this was part of my my criteria when I was deciding who would win this game. And I just had the vision of rookie Josh Connerly playing right tackle and Micah Parsons just screaming off the edge at him over and over and over again. And I didn't like the vision, like at all. It really terrified me. So I think they're obviously more than capable of winning this game. Washington is, but I think the right side of that line is going to be punished, like actually physically punished all game long.
Yeah, they definitely can be. I mean, it was kind of shocking last week, to me at least, that the Giants didn't find as much success as I thought they were going to. I picked the Giants, which looked like a complete idiotic move when it was all said and done. But I did expect the Commanders' offensive line to struggle a lot more than they did, and all we ended up with was an Abdul Carter versus Laramie Tunsil rep that will be seen for the next 12 years as to what it should not look like from either end. It was like Laramie Tunsil 3.5 seconds late out of his stance after the ball was snapped, and then Abdul Carter closing in like he's trying to get to the perimeter playing basketball.
It's like a basketball defender. Yeah, that was. But Brian success pretty early. That was kind of nice to see. What he had 2 sacks on like the same drive for Brian Burns. Cool. That was pretty early in the game. In Josh Connerly's rookie debut, he settled in a little bit and it actually looked pretty damn good for the rest of the game. But Micah Parsons is a different animal. Like, I love Brian Burns. He's a great football player, but Micah Parsons is a completely different species.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a game that will come down to the trenches. I mean, that's where the Commanders won last week. The Giants' offensive line was dastardly. They didn't have Andrew Thomas, and it just was a complete shit show. I think Russell Wilson looked about as bad as I expected Russell Wilson to look, especially behind that protection, and they just dominated them on the ground as well. Like the Commanders rushed for over like 200 yards, I think. I think they had like 220 yards and like 32 carries. And the Packers are built to stuff the run and then tee off on the opposing quarterback. And while, this isn't going to be Jared Goff, I would say the Lions offense is similar in terms of caliber to what we're expecting for the Commanders this year. So I wouldn't be shocked if they smothered Jaden Daniels the same way they smothered that new Lions operation.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, even in terms of skill, but in terms of athleticism, having someone like Jaden Daniels does give you a little bit of an edge when he can outrun most pass rushers. But I don't think he's faster than Micah. If he is, it's not by much. So that'll be a problem, because Micah showed up against Penei Sewell, who's a top 3 offensive tackle in the game. So that's pretty scary, especially when you contrast Sewell to a rookie right tackle, and someone like Connerly. And Laramie Tunsil, who had his own struggles. So him, Rashawn Gary, I think the creative blitzing that Hafley is able to get done, I think I'm not saying they'll take over the game, but I think Jaden Daniels is going to be pretty damn uncomfortable for most of the game.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, we saw that Micah Parsons chase down on Jared Goff, and it looked like a bear chasing a child. It was so bad.
It did.
But at least this time, if Parsons is chasing Daniels, it might look like a bear chasing an adult this time. But it doesn't change the fact that that is a scary defensive front now with Micah Parsons on it. And, I don't know if the Commanders' offense really is going to have enough juice to keep away. So I do have the Packers winning this game. I would assume you probably follow in line.
I do. And if there's anybody I'm betting to like somehow keep a game close, it's someone like Jaden, and it's someone like Terry, like a couple people that can just make clutch plays over and over again to keep themselves in the game. But I think I would just be against everything I believe in after watching what the Packers just did last game and how stale the Commanders looked last game. So I got the Packers.
Yeah, me too. And that kind of follow suit with my betting pick for this game. I don't exactly remember how all my picks did, but I do remember seeing J.K. Dobbins score, which I said. I remember something else happened, but then there were a couple other bets. I'm like, man, those things really, really busted. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. But this game, I do just keep it simple. I go with Packers -2.5, -2.5. They're 3.5 point favorites, so I'm playing it down a point at -2.5. I think they can comfortably take this away.
Agreed.
Next game.
So that would bring me to the Sunday, afternoon slate with the Bengals versus the Jaguars. I think that this is going to be a really, really fun game. 2 games of big cats with really fun offenses. And my big question was, do the Jags have enough juice if the Bengals choose a shootout?
No, I don't. I know there was a rain delay or a weather delay halfway through the Panthers-Jags game last week, but the passing attack in Jacksonville is not explosive in the least. I know they leaned on the run a lot more, so they really didn't have the need to kind of take the roof off the Panthers defense because they were just terrible anyway. But I didn't really see much of a threatening passing attack. So I would be damned if that secondary can hold down Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase the way that the Browns did last week. Like, I feel like they contained them in week 1, and it just kind of built up the rage, and now it's just going to blow up, and the Jaguars are going to experience the worst of it just 1 week later.
That was kind of my thing. Is like, Dan Orlovsky said it best. It's like the Bengals defense looked good. Like, the run defense was phenomenal. They did everything they wanted to do. And he was like, you're concerned about the offense? Like you're going to be concerned about Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins? Like, they'll have their down games, and it's always against the Browns. They've just figured it out. Jim Schwartz, Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett. They haven't figured out. They're their kryptonite every year. So to win that game was huge. And I think Jacksonville can have some success. Like that's the Bengals' still biggest issue is their corner play. So I think that there can just be enough 50-50 balls that BTJ and Travis Hunter can win. And I actually had Travis Hunter as my anytime touchdown scorer. I think the Bengals corners are physical enough to deal with BTJ, but Travis Hunter's just a different level athlete that the Bengals don't really have in the secondary. So I can definitely see him just getting the best of them a couple times and possibly scoring a touchdown out of it. But ultimately, I still do have the Bengals winning in a shootout, probably like a 35-28 type of game.
Yeah, I also have the Bengals winning this game. And Hunter, there wasn't much to really talk about from that game, as I was kind of alluding to, but Hunter looked decent. He looked the same twitchy self, that we saw at Colorado, just playing out of the slot in Jacksonville. And I think that absolutely could work in his favor over the middle of the field because Trevor, he likes that area. Even Brenton Strange had a decent day. Yeah. That's where he really lives. So,
nice.
Yeah, he was like that. They just didn't have to be explosive. So it wasn't the fireworks that I think some people might have expected or were looking for, but they're definitely going to have to up the ante now, and they have the weaponry to do it.
Well, I mean, that's something that we kind of learned from the Bengals game last game is they didn't really give up anything explosive. Everything was just in front of them. Joe Flacco's played this game long enough. He attacked the middle of the field. He just took what the Bengals defense gave him, and it was pretty available for a large majority of the game. So that was honestly my biggest worry was guys attacking the middle of the field, Travis Hunter, Brenton Strange, like those guys kind of attacking. I wasn't quite as concerned about the perimeter because I think that we do have some athleticism out there, but inside the safety rooms, the slots, I don't think they have the athletes to keep up with someone like Travis Hunter. So worried about that, worried about the linebackers and coverage. But ultimately, I think when I look at, the guys that the Bengals have, Joe Burrow, Chase Brown, Jamar T, I don't think the Jags have nearly enough in their secondary to compete with that. Not like how the Browns do with that pass rush and secondary. So I feel good about this matchup in the Bengals' favor.
Agreed. Yeah, there's no one on the Jacksonville defensive front that's going to just murder Joe Burrow the way that Myles Garrett did. And he still survived it and got up and threw the next pass. So I think if that's not a testament to what Joe Burrow and this offense is about, then I don't know what it is. He got smoked. Him and Lamar Jackson got smoked last week on two different occasions. Like he tossed.
Lamar doesn't get smoked. Like Joe Burrow gets smoked all the time. Like that's just who he is. But Lamar doesn't get hit very often. That was something I even made in a post was like, I'm not really used to seeing Lamar get hit. Like usually you kind of have to trip him or he like kind of drags himself down or goes out of bounds. But to be hit for Lamar, that's a weird sight that I'm not used to at all.
No, not at all. It's like he got blasted. And that's kind of part of the evolution we've seen of Lamar. This is so off track, but for him to be able to stand in and make those throws, like I don't think there are many Lamar doubters out there anymore, but for him to be able to stand in the pocket and deliver the way he did, just from that rep alone, just goes to show how far he's come as a passer. So off topic, but there should not be a single Lamar Jackson
next game
on earth. Next game.
There better not be, no.
Next game, I have the Giants and the Cowboys. This could be a shitstorm. And my question for you was, will Russell Wilson look any better against roughly the same caliber of defense in Dallas?
Yeah, it's a very not similarly built, but I mean, kinda defense in a way where it's like it's not really full of studs, but there's a couple decent guys. I definitely think that Dallas has the same amount of playmakers that the Commanders have on defense, and I think that you're looking at fairly similar levels of pass rush ability. So if he can't get it done against Washington, I mean, I don't know what to tell you because I think Dallas's defense is built pretty similarly. I think they're slightly worse personnel-wise, but even if Russell's only slightly better than he was last week, that's still pretty shitty. It was just a lot of attention on Neighbors, and then everyone else was terrible. That's just kind of how it went.
Yep. And the thing with Dallas's defense last week was it really didn't play that bad. I think Jalen Hurts there wasn't much to the passing game for the Eagles. It really was just Jalen Hurts dropping back and then finding a way out of the pocket. And Russell Wilson isn't going to do that. So I would fully expect this Cowboys defense to probably end up looking a lot better than they actually are coming out of this game, because they did get, I think they pressured Hurts. I saw the stat like 42.4% of dropbacks or something like that. I know that Eberflus started to send some heat in the second half. So, I'm not even sure they'll have to against this Giants offensive line. They might just be able to rush 4 and terrorize Russell in his dreams. But I mean, my God, it just was so bad. I thought a divisional game, week 1, everyone's rusty with a good defensive front, that maybe Russell will be able to get something going. And I mean, he threw 37 passes, I think completed 17 for like 180 yards. It was just atrocious.
Well, I think the thing that frustrated me the most was they weren't down by a lot for almost the entire game. Like, they were not that far off, and they refused to run the ball. And Tyrone Tracy, like, he's not a volume guy. And the fact that Cam Scatterbo had 2 carries on the game was really confusing to me, because I feel like that's how people got at Washington last year. They could run on them at will last season, and I don't think they changed that much. But New York never really even attempted to establish any kind of run game outside of a few change of pace carries for Tyrone Tracy. So I was pretty confused about that. It seemed like Daboll really just wanted to get Russ going. I know there was some kind of push to get Jackson Dart to be the starting quarterback this week, but seems that's not going to happen, unfortunately. Would be fun for Dart, would be fun for the run game, but I do think that they have a better chance this week, just for how weak that Dallas front is, but it's not much of a better chance, honestly. The defenses are built kind of the same.
Yeah, agreed. I do think that there will be a little bit more success running the ball. I know they didn't try it much, but there should be at least more spark, maybe a couple more explosives from Tyrone or Scatterbo against the Cowboys. You'd like to hope. But with that said, I mean, I do have the Cowboys winning. I can't in good faith take the Giants twice in a fucking row. That would be a death sentence. Like,
yeah,
I think everyone's going to be going with the Cowboys here. But my pick for this game was Russell Wilson over 19.5 completions. So for a guy that looked as bad as he did last week, and to still have I think he finished with 17, he just needs 3 more. I'm just assuming that we can get to that 20 completion mark, because he can't be that bad again. There's just no way. The pass rush is worse in Dallas, and I think they will just progressively look like a better offense, I hope. I mean, it's just, maybe I'm just being too optimistic. Maybe I'm just picking from what's available because FanDuel didn't post anything, but I think Russell Wilson over 19.5 completions is fair, given 17 last week.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, Dallas's defense, they did a good job covering the downfield stuff. Like, I could definitely see Malik Neighbors struggling again in this game to get going, because there will be double teams, triple teams on him, anything that they can possibly do. But the flats were open. Like, Jalen Hurts had the most time to throw and the lowest target, like lowest depth of target rate. So the flats were open. The middle of the field was open. I don't really trust Dallas's linebackers. I don't trust, their corners to come down and make a bunch of sharp plays. Most of them are coming off injuries. Deron Bland apparently is hurt now as of an hour ago. So definitely concerned about that, because the depth of that Dallas corner room is atrocious. Because once you start getting to Andrew Booth and the guys behind him, guys like Kalen Carson, it gets bad. So worried for him for sure, but no better week to have that happen than when you're playing Russell Wilson. So it'll be a good test.
That is for sure.
But are we ready to move on to the next game?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, actually, I think no, you're good. I think I forgot my prediction. I am also taking the Cowboys.
Oh yeah, okay. I feel like the Cowboys have to be a shoo-in, right? Who could possibly?
I thought
pick
that
the
I kind of
Giants
said it.
That?
Wait, I feel like you can tell my picks just based off of how I talk about each team.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could probably tell I was pretty anti-Giants in that one, but yes, Cowboys win that game by 7 specifically. But the next game, I got the Bears and the Lions, which is kind of a really fun rematchup between Ben Johnson and his former team, the Detroit Lions. So to me, my biggest question was, which coaching staff can get their team to recover? Because both teams had pretty disappointing starts to their season. the Lions getting kind of just mauled by the Packers, and the Bears blowing a lead to JJ McCarthy, who's basically a rookie at this point. Both teams probably expected higher odds. Both teams are probably in bad spirits, but which coaching staff can get that team to recover and be ready to fire out this week?
I'm not going to say I trust the Lions staff more than the Bears staff, because I think pound for pound, I do like the names that Chicago has more than Detroit as of right now, but I think I trust the execution from the players more. And that could be directly correlated to the coaches or not. But I'll say the Lions. I mean, they got smothered. I think that's the best word to use. I think Jahmyr Gibbs had 9 rushes for 19 yards last week. I can't imagine that's going to be the case this week. I think they're going to have a lot more success. We saw the Bears kind of stuff the Vikings run game early in the first half, but then the floodgates kind of opened, and Jordan Mason specifically was just tearing them open. So if Jordan Mason is having his way, then I would like to imagine that Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery will. So this is a game that I think I trust the Bears coaching staff, presumably, to get them back on track.
Yeah. And it was kind of my thing also, because the Bears were dominating. Like it honestly felt like they were going to win 35-3 after the first 3 drives, but the Bears got stale, and all of a sudden the Vikings became a good team again. That should have been the Bears game to win. They should have won that game. So I do think that they're in better spirits in a way, because the Vikings still are a good team. Like, don't get that twisted. It wasn't like they just blew a lead to some shitty team. Like, they lost to the Vikings, who were incredible last season and barely lost anybody. So I also think that, I don't know, because to me it was like Dan Campbell can get any team rallied behind his cause, and there's no better coach, in my opinion, to convince a team to forget what just happened and go forward into this game with vengeance to Ben Johnson for leaving our team. And we're going to bring it to his offense. We're going to hurt Caleb. We're going to attack him, call him names. We're going to bite him. And I think I trust Dan Campbell to do that. But kind of like you were saying, I don't really predict Jahmyr Gibbs to be that bad again. So I took Jahmyr Gibbs anytime touchdown. And I think what we kind of saw from that Aaron Jones touchdown was that the Chicago Bears defense just isn't very fast. Like, they don't have a lot of guys to keep up in open space with someone like Aaron Jones. So when you bring someone of that archetype like Gibbs, who's even faster and more explosive than Jones, I think you have a pretty good recipe to get a big touchdown.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we saw Jordan Mason get to the second level a couple times, and he almost had a few runs that I thought might break away. So, and the Bears defensive back room, I don't know if it will be as depleted as it was, but they had a Vikings practice squad player starting outside corner last week, and he didn't look bad. I can't remember his name, but he didn't look bad. But that just kind of speaks to how depleted they are. And the Lions are a very talented group of skill position players. Like, Laporta had a pretty good week relative to expectations this past week. Gibbs, of course, wasn't there much, but he's still explosive. Amon-Ra, J-Mo, we don't have to go down the entire list, but that's a handful. I mean, the Vikings were rolling out there with Jalen Naylor, Justin Jefferson, of course, but 30-year-old Aaron Jones. Like, there wasn't much pop to that offense,
no,
especially without Darnold at the helm with the confidence he was throwing with downfield last year. And now they have to go with Goff and, J-Mo and the whole crew. I would be surprised if the Bears have, defensively speaking, as much success as they had against JJ McCarthy and the Vikings, which wasn't
absolutely much. I mean, it's his first game of his career, man. Like, it's going to be slow. Like, it's always going to start slow. And on top of that, like you said, they just didn't have the dudes. Like Justin Jefferson was pretty shut down for, the entire game. So that made it even harder. But I do doubt, like you said, that all of those Lions weapons, all those running backs, receivers, tight ends, like, I don't think they're going to have the same answer they had for Jefferson for all those guys. So I did pick the Lions to win a gritty, tough football game where, both teams are really trying to recover after a disappointing week. And I think the Lions do that just a little bit better.
Agreed. Yeah, I also have the Lions. The Lions winning this one, bouncing back. If they start 0-2, they lose to Ben Johnson. on their own home field. Like Amon-Ra's already talking shit. Like, we're going to boo the fuck out of him. Like he's saying that on his podcast or whatever. It's like, they can't lose this game. That would be such a blow to like everything they stand for. Like ego. Their ego would be hurt if they lost this one. And they're 0-2 on top of it. So
that'd be bad.
Yes. The next game on the slate was the Rams and the Titans. I feel bad for this particular individual. Will Cam Ward make it out alive against the Rams pass rush?
Is that like an over-under? Is there a line for this?
Over-under death? Yeah, over half the death?
Will there be a stretcher brought out at any point for I mean, maybe. And fantasy football guys, if you stream your defense every single week, I feel like the Rams defense would be a pretty good pickup this week because they made Houston like look like a bitch. Like they were just firing on all cylinders. They were proving why it was a pretty bad idea for Houston not to upgrade that line because they dominated them. Like CJ Stroud looked like Kobe off his back foot, throwing up fadeaways every single time he threw the ball. Like he was off his back foot, throwing up it straight in the air. Like it was bad. And I trust Cam Ward a lot less than I trust CJ Stroud at this point in their careers. And they don't have a Nico Collins to bail you out. Like they don't have a guy like that. And their offensive line, while might be a little bit better than Houston, it's not anything to write home about. And I don't think that Denver's pass rush is actually even scarier than LA's. I think the Rams have arguably the best pass rush unit in the NFL. So for Cam Ward to have to face that 2 weeks in a row to start off his career was just brutal scheduling by whoever the hell did that.
Yeah, they must hate Cam Ward. They must hate.
Everyone hates Cam Ward, apparently. Like he got zero recognition throughout the entire process. And then he played pretty decently well, and everyone's just shitting on him on Twitter for his numbers against like the best defense in the NFL. Like, oh no, how dare he? Like, poor guy with no weapons, no nothing.
No, he was playing confident though. He was. I mean, but that was the big conversation this week was whether or not Cam Ward played well, and that was like the film watchers versus the analytics nerds were going to war this week on Twitter about whether or not he did play good because one of the bigger guys in the space is like it was saying Cam Ward objectively played bad and then listed off all of these like 3-letter acronym stats and then everyone's quote tweeting it like, dude, just watch the game. Like, please stop with these acronyms, these numbers. Just watch.
Or even then, like a guy in his first game with awful line, awful run game, awful receivers, playing arguably the best defense in the NFL. He stayed alive. He kept the game close. And for you to be such like a loser, to be like, actually, he didn't play that good. I mean, what do you mean? It was objectively horrible. Like, that's so stupid. Like, that guy's pillow deserves to be super, super warm for the rest of his life. Like he never deserves to be comfortable ever again. I hope he is aware of his sock every time he puts on a shoe. It just feels his sock crunching up in the very front. Because that's super annoying. But still, I think in this game it's not going to be a pretty sight, and it won't be Cam Ward's fault. Again, like he was kind of set up to fail. This is just, I've said it before, hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby. These are not in the same league.
No. I mean, Stroud, like you said, it looked like Stroud was literally throwing up fadeaways. The amount of passes that he threw where it looked like he was trying to just get the ball away, but he was actually like throwing to an intended receiver, and it almost would work. It happened more times than I wanted to say it did. Like, that's just how bad it was every single down. And I mean, Cam Ward, that offensive line, it's just, I feel bad.
Dan Moore v. Jared Verse.
JC Latham out there. It's like they're on like the 3-yard line and Cam Ward's dropping back in shotgun. It's like, who do the Titans think that they have up there? They're just like making Cam Ward stand there and have to get the ball out.
Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk running a stunt. Jared Verse comes around the edge. Like, you're just seeing velociraptors sprint to you. Like, I was making the connection earlier in my head. I was like, playing Myles Garrett on the Browns felt like we were just playing against a T-Rex. like just this dominant force that no human being can stop. But we said it last week. The Rams are like velociraptors. Like no one guy is all that scary, but God, when they are all like 4 or 5 running at you at the same time, it's terrifying and almost more scary than playing a T-Rex like Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I think it would be more terrifying. I think I'd be able to outrun a T-Rex before I could get away from some velociraptors. Maybe not. Maybe I could just like run between its legs or something, but I'd probably have a better chance of survival from a T-Rex than like 5 raptors. That's an interesting stat. How much longer would you survive versus a T-Rex? I think you'd survive longer. I think you would survive longer against a T-Rex.
They both squish you.
I'm quickly developing a passionate opinion for this topic.
It's like the Usain Bolt versus Joey Chestnut thing. You heard it here. Cave would beat a T-Rex in a fight.
I just think I could hide somewhere. Like I'd be able to run and like get under a rock. But like a velociraptor,
the raptors would all smell you. Like they would all work together. They would work together. They'd coordinate. They'd like come in like in and out of the rooms. They can go in buildings. Like they're terrifying.
Literally, they'd open doors. Like T-Rex, like if I ran into a skyscraper, he'd have to like rip the ceiling off to find me. But the raptors would just open the door and start sniffing. Like I'd be fucked. I would die. I could get away from a T-Rex. Well, I'm confident.
This is great football content. All right.
But yeah, I think we both can agree that we have the Rams winning this game.
Yes.
And my betting pick, for this game is under 41.5 points. The Rams kind of struggled to put up offensive numbers against the Texans. It was another game that felt like it should have been like way over before it actually was.
Yeah.
And the Rams just strike me as a team that they'll score the amount of points they have to. And the Titans defense, on the other hand, made Bo Nix look like a toddler. So I could see this game being low scoring. Cam Ward might be lucky to get 10 points again. So, and the Rams will get 17 and call it a day.
Yeah, I think that's a fair bet. But to the next game, we got the Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. Talk about 2 ugly games for both teams last year. But for me, I put which QB can mentally recover, because Drake May didn't play his best game at all against a pretty shaky Raiders defense, and Tua was legitimately horrific. So it was kind of just which QB can kind of shake off their bad week and go after the other struggling defense.
It's got to be Drake May, right? Like I think
you would hope
at least the supporting structure in place to help May bounce back, where it's like Mike McDaniel's in press conferences saying like, "Oh, it can't get worse, right?" And then Tyreek's like,
"It can.
It can. In fact, buddy, your ass could be gone in 2 weeks, so it can get worse." Tyreek's getting arrested again. Like, there's just no supporting structure to help Tua pick himself back up, and even he's like, people are criticizing Tua because after the game he's going up to Daniel Jones and he's like slapping him up, and all these people are like, "Why is this dude smiling? Like, you just played the worst football game anyone's ever seen, and he's smiling talking to Daniel Jones." It's just like, it's a fucking shit show. Like, I don't think they care. Tua got his money. Mike McDaniel knows he's can. Tyreek's going to be in jail. I just don't think give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, I was worried about the Patriots offense game, like last game too. Like, I had a little bit more faith in their weapons than they actually performed, but they didn't look very good against a Raiders defense that really also isn't that good, at least on paper, and they made them look good. They made Devin White look good. How do you do that? How do you make Devin White in the Lord's year 2025 look like a starting NFL linebacker? That worried me for Drake May and the Miami and the New England Patriots, but the Dolphins also got shelled by Daniel Jones and company. So if they can demolish you, I feel like the Patriots have also a pretty good chance of putting up some good numbers.
Agreed. The Patriots are just such a weird case because we talked about like a few times over the offseason, like what the expectations were for them for like from a media and a public's perspective versus what our expectations were for them. And it felt like the former was a lot higher than I really was being able to understand. And they go out and they look pretty stinky against the Raiders. So you would like to imagine this is the perfect bounce back spot, but someone like myself who wasn't very high on the Patriots, like this is another divisional game against a defense that on paper at least is probably better. Maybe not. That corner room is so bad.
Their corner room is disgusting, and that lost them the game ultimately. Like
it did. I don't know, man.
Like
the Giants,
their front isn't bad.
No,
but I do worry about Will Campbell, man. Like his rookie debut, he gives up 2 sacks. I mean, Tyree Wilson beat the shit out of him of all people. Like known bust, Tyree Wilson is out here dominating you. Not using like he kind of used his length, but just he overpowered him, and that was a concern for me. But I think he can recover. Miami's edge rushers are good, but they're always hurt. They're probably still a little banged up. But I have faith that New England can still find a way to get it done. I think that Drake May is just so much, and Vrabel even, are so much more mentally ready to win games than anyone on the Dolphins is right now. So I did take the Patriots to win an ugly game, and my pick was Drake May to get over 216.5 passing yards. If Daniel Jones can do it, I think Drake May is very capable of doing it.
I agree. I agree entirely. Would it behoove you to know that the Dolphins are favored in this game?
That didn't behoove me because they are a talented squad on paper. Like if you're Vegas looking at this game, you're like,
I guess
Dolphins team on paper is probably better than the Patriots, but that's a big but. The execution, the whole Tyreek, possibly going to the clink. You have Tua is just not mentally there. They couldn't get a run game going. Somehow Patrick Paul was their only good lineman. That's insane. I don't know.
Isn't Chase Daniel hurt? Didn't he get hurt?
Yes.
Of course he did.
So that's bad.
It's so over. It's so over.
It's just bad. It's nothing can go right. So on paper, yeah, like I would totally be cool taking the Dolphins, and the Patriots weren't good enough to make this a slam dunk pick either. Like they were stinky, like you said. So it's not like we're just picking, a great team over a bad one. It's the lesser of two evils for me. Yeah. They just weren't quite as evil as as they were in Miami. But yes, I think the Patriots win an ugly, evil game.
I also will take the Patriots. It's just like similar to the Giants. After what I saw from this team, I don't know how anyone can sit there and have any confidence that it's going to look any different. Like, how is there any sort of, unless you're just one of those like conspiracy theorists, like tinfoil hat motherfuckers, are just like, yeah, I just feel it. Like there was nothing that you could be feeling in your stomach from what you watched last game that would tell you that this is going to go any differently. So if people,
I'm not even going to lie, there are some games on here that I did pick by gut only. It was I put my tinfoil hat on and I was like, I feel it. I feel this game coming. I did pick a game or two by that, but
it's a little different though. Like at least there wasn't, there are no other teams as far as I'm concerned, other than the Giants and the Dolphins that put up such a bad performance that you couldn't do that for. So
fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dolphins were like the worst team in the NFL this week. Like they might be picking a quarterback first overall. We don't know.
Oh, what a disaster. Poor Jalen Waddle. Figuratively and literally.
Yeah.
Or yeah, you get it.
He's actually not literally. He's actually pretty well off, but
the next game was the Saints versus the 49ers. And you're gonna love this question. Does Spencer Rattler have the clutch gene? Does he got it?
I don't know. I've never seen it. Like I've never seen him in a big moment before.
Yeah, you have. Stop lying.
When is he like at South
last
Carolina?
Week, he almost did it. He almost had it last week. Did you see the end of that game?
Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Oh, shut up. Shut up.
But I do think he might be the best quarterback in this game. If Purdy's not playing, like,
yeah,
this could be bad. And if there is one team that, I do think can catch the stink bug and just play poorly down the stretch, it's this current San Francisco 49ers team. Like, they can't catch a break at all. And their secondary is not good, like, at all. So unless Nick Bosa just takes over the game and just dominates, because Fuaga was bad. He was dog shit, actually, but if Nick Bosa can't terrorize him, I have a lot of worries about the San Francisco 49ers defense in this game, but I think they'll stifle the run game. I think Rattler can find success in this game. That's just one of those like gut feeling games where I think it could definitely happen.
Well, I feel like he looked the part enough last week. I mean, he didn't turn the ball over. He didn't throw a touchdown, but he didn't turn the ball over. He led a drive at the end of the game that I thought was worthy of a touchdown to, I think it would have won the game, if I remember correctly, had they scored.
I think
And
what did they lose, like by 7?
something like that. Yeah, they lost. They lost.
I want to say they lost like 20-13. Yeah.
Yeah. Although they probably would have won for 2. I think they go for 2 there. Kellen Moore does. But
You should.
it was a game that made it look like he could be a starting quarterback. And, we went into this week thinking that going back to the Giants, they might look better with a quarterback upgrade, or, the Dolphins with all the questions they have. And we're all expecting the Saints to be this heaping pile of poop, and they weren't. I mean, the Cardinals in their own right weren't great. Kyler is still struggling, especially in the pocket. Like he is just a puzzling. Like I want to get like a Kyler mind reading device to know what's going on in his head when he's standing there, but it's just not looking inspiring. But that doesn't change the fact that the Saints did not look the worst ever. Spencer specifically,
they did not look like, honestly, like there wasn't a team this week that I thought was like, holy shit, that team's going that team's going 0-16. That team is picking first overall. Like all the teams that were expected to, the Browns, the Titans, the Saints, they put up really good fights against solid squads. And I was pretty impressed. And I think there were some other teams, like we said, the Dolphins, that kind of looked a little bit more worthy of that number 1 overall pick type of team. But yeah, the Saints were gritty on defense, especially. It's, I think, where they really shined. Demario Davis had James Conner in a box. Like he was on his ass. And aside from one really big Trey Benson run and a good Kyler to Marv connection early in the game, everything they tried to do was shut down for pretty much the entire second half. So good looks for them. It was a well-coached game, I thought. They just didn't quite have the star power to keep up with Arizona. But if San Francisco has this many injuries, if Purdy doesn't play and you have Kittle on IR, and if it's just CMC versus the world, I could definitely take the Saints. In fact, I actually did.
Me too. I did. It's trending toward Brock Purdy not playing, and he didn't even look good last week. I mean, they fought tooth and nail to win that game against Seattle. It was a miracle they did, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
And
I still do believe Seattle has a top 5-10 defense, so it wasn't like the worst thing in the world, but yeah, it was not a pretty sight.
No, it wasn't. I mean, if Tariq Woolen could track a football, they probably do lose. And now we're into week 2 against the Saints and Rattler, and it's going to be close. Let's put it this way. This is the first game that I really had to sit here and think about, regardless of who's playing quarterback for the 49ers. I think Matt could still pull it out, but yeah, I mean, it very easily could go in favor of the Saints, and that would not be crazy. In fact, they are only 3-point underdogs. So
if this wasn't the 49ers uniform they were wearing, I would easily pick the Saints. Like looking at who's healthy, looking at who's left, if they were all wearing some like different expansion team uniform, you'd be like, wow, that team's not going to win any games with who's healthy. But the 49ers like uniform, like you're just like, that team has to win. They always win. But this is an injured, ugly team. I don't feel good about it for right now. Last week, I would have picked the Niners easily, but with all their injuries, I'm going Saints.
Agreed. Yeah, I do. I would say my bet would be just the Saints outright, but I go somewhere safer, and I'm going to go Rashid Shaheed over whatever his receiving line is because it's not out yet. I'm assuming it's going to be somewhere in the 40s, maybe low 50s. Yeah. He had 9 targets, 6 grabs, but for just 33 yards. And the 49ers gave up a few explosives to JSN last week, and I think Shaheed could be used in similar capacity to get him downfield. So I like Shaheed against whatever the 49ers are. Me too.
Yeah, I don't. They don't have one person in the secondary where I'm like, keep him away from that guy. Like Arizona does. They have a couple guys that like you don't really want to target, like Garrett Williams and Buda Baker. Like, I don't think the Niners really have a guy like that anymore after losing Charvarius Ward. And I don't love anyone in that room right now. So I can definitely see, 1, 2, 3 really big plays on them.
Agreed. Where do we go next here? Are we into the
For
4
the
o'clock
next
slate yet?
game,
No, not yet.
well,
Close.
I got a game you're gonna like is the Bills versus the Jets. And my big question was, can the Jets keep their offensive momentum up and make this game a little messy?
Yes, they should. I mean, they made a very, very well-rounded Steelers defense look like they were not the Steelers. Talk about throwing a team into expansion uniforms and wondering who the hell is out there. That's what the Jets made the Steelers look like. I mean, Armand Membu had a few good reps that you were sending around against TJ Watt. Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson rekindled their connection, and Fields was like, for the first time ever, very decisive in the pocket. He was maneuvering. Specifically, his pocket movement was beautiful. Like he was stepping up when he had to. He was running when he had to. His ball placement was great. Like it looked like a completely different Justin Fields.
You know who it looked like? OSU Justin Fields. Like that looked like who we thought Fields was supposed to be. Like Fields on the Steelers did not look like Ohio State Justin Fields. Very two different quarterbacks, but Jets Justin Fields looks like Ohio State Justin Fields, and that's the version we've been wanting to see for a long, long time. So really encouraging to see. I really love the coaching staff there, having guys like Tanner Eggstrand coming in, passing game guru. It looks good. They look really good. But obviously, what the Bills just did to the Ravens kind of makes you want to erase that, because what Josh Allen did in that second half was Hall of Fame level football. And the Jets, they still had some issues on defense for themselves. Brandon Stevens looked the part of Brandon Stevens of 2024. It was bad. He was torched over and over and over again. And Sauce Gardner can do his thing, but the Bills aren't super reliant on perimeter receiver play anyways. So if that's the case, I think they'll be able to run the ball. I think they'll be able to get the tight ends involved. And the Bills are just a better team by a good bit. So I still got them winning.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I can't sit here and pick against them in this game, especially because, like you said, the Jets defense was exposed in their own right. It was like their units had the performance that you expected the other one to have. Like we expected the defense to be kind of keeping them in that game against the Steelers, and then it was the offense ultimately. So I can't imagine that this defense is going to be able to stop Josh Allen. Although if there is one team to do it, it's the Jets, because for whatever reason, they have our number sometimes. It feels like once a year they at least come close to splitting with Buffalo, and Josh Allen's brain is just like microwaved against this team sometimes. He threw like one of the worst picks I've ever seen against the Jets a couple of years ago.
Like 2 years ago, I think I remember this.
He just threw it right to the same the DB had 2 picks in that game. He threw it to him, just straight to him twice. I can't remember his name, but
I can't remember either. But I remember Josh Allen getting flamed for that.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Wow.
So, but
this is different. Are the Jets like the Browns for you guys? How the Bengals are with the Browns? Is that how the Jets are with you guys?
I would say so at this point. Like I thought maybe the Dolphins were, but the Dolphins were always better than like the Browns were. So it's kind of hard to compare them.
Yeah.
They were just kind of a good team that competed with us, but the Jets have always been bad, and they always seem to keep it close with us. So, and Breece Hall on a bum leg ripped off like a 50-yard run against us last year, I think it was. Now he's healthy, looking like he did in week 1. And Derrick Henry just ripped off like 3 zone scheme carries for 50 yards. Like I would bet, it's not my bet, but Breece Hall over longest rush, like 22.5 yards. I would bet that. I would bet that.
I put the simplest bet of all time: Josh Allen anytime touchdown.
Yeah, fair.
And this is rushing. This is a rushing touchdown. But I feel like in every close game they've ever been a part of, they just kick James Cook in the leg, and they're like, "Sorry, pal, it's Josh Allen time," and he takes every rushing touchdown available in the second half. And I think he does it again in a closer than you like 10-score win. Is kind of how, or like 10-point win. So like I think that they can win like 30 to 20, and it's a good win, but it felt closer than it was supposed to be the entire time kind of game.
Yeah, I like that. I I just hope there's no funny business. We got away with our lives last week. So it would be so on brand for us to pull off the dumbest comeback ever against Baltimore and then just shit themselves against the Jets. It would be so on brand. But
yeah,
I won't bet that, of course. Jets are not winning this game. Fingers crossed. That brings us to what's next? The Seattle and Pittsburgh game. Speaking of Pittsburgh briefly, my question for you is, will either the Steelers or Seahawks run game look any better than it did last week?
Well, I don't know. Like, I think the only thing encouraging about that was that the Jets ran the ball pretty damn well on the Steelers. And I'm not sure how. I'm not sure where the weaknesses were. It just kind of felt scheme-wise they had the best of them. They kind of just attacked the left side. They attacked Alex Highsmith and company over there on the left side. But I don't know. The Seahawks offensive run game looked pretty shitty. And that's a team that was supposed to look really, really good in the run game. And I don't know if Ken Walker gained a yard at all at any point in this game. Charbonnet got going, but they didn't really do that the whole game. Like, they gave him 12 carries, kind of let it be that. Ken Walker kind of just suffered the entire time. It was horrible. Like, at one point he had 5 carries for 4 yards and 2 catches for 1 yard. Like, he literally couldn't move no matter what he did. But Charbonnet got going, and I feel like if they just pound the downhill running game, embrace who they are, pound the rock, use Charbonnet, I think they can get the ball moving. But I just don't like Ken Walker and whatever offense they're trying to run here, because that was bad. And this is a 49ers defense that does not have a good run D. They really, last year, that was their biggest issue, and they still couldn't run the ball on him. So, not loving it, but I don't know. Pittsburgh also can't run the ball. They're incapable of it. Yeah, with no Caleb. They don't have Caleb Johnson, apparently. They use Kenny Gainwell as their new starting running back against all odds. So, I don't know. I think the Seattle still has the better odds.
It was just dumbfounding, man. Arthur Smith just finds one guy every year that he thinks deserves work. And a couple of years ago, of course, it was Jonnu with the Falcons and Algier with the Falcons. And now he's over here in fucking Pittsburgh. And now it's Kenny Gainwell. I remember word for word saying to you when we were doing our co-fantasy draft, we drafted Caleb Johnson. And I said word for word to Austin here that there's no way that Arthur Smith will give Kenny Gainwell any touches. That was whatever I said. And I just underestimated the man, I guess. And here we are. Caleb Johnson had 1 carry for -2 yards, and he fumbled, but recovered it on the kickoff. So we won't be seeing him anytime soon. He's in the gulag.
Yeah. I don't get Arthur Smith. He has his guys, like you were saying. He loves that fucking russet potato. What's his name? Connor Hayward. He loves Connor Hayward for some reason. But the 3rd round rookie running back that shows, an element of excitement. They're yeah, bench.
Yeah, literally.
I just can't. I can't get behind it. So I don't know. I think if there is a team that can establish the run, and a team that had an encouraging defense at least last week in Seattle, outside of Tariq Woolen's weird mental lapse, they looked awesome. They shut down San Francisco and just about everything they tried to do, except that deep ball to Ricky Pearsall. So I think that Seattle will look like the better game, the better team all game, but the Steelers use their stupid witch magic and pull out a field goal win.
Yeah, I was going back and forth on this one. They probably do, just because that's what Pittsburgh, they have the ability to win these 1-score close games. But I ended up going with Seattle just because, like you said, their defense looked good. I think on one hand it was the 49ers struggling with injuries, and it's week 1, they're not looking like themselves. But if Jake Tunges doesn't moss Tariq Woolen in the back of the end zone, they win that game. If Ricky Pearsall doesn't catch a double move over Tariq Woolen because he, like you said, can't see, then they win that game. So this is this is going to be a better defense they see. I think the pass rush will get after Aaron Rodgers even more than the Jets pass rush did. And he's not looking very nimble these days. So I'm going to go with Seattle. They're the underdogs here, but I'm going to take them. And that will be my bet hand in hand. They're underdogs, so I'm going to take them outright.
I like that. And I think we can keep this next one pretty short. The Ravens and the Browns. I don't actually think I need to say anything really, but my only question was, can the Browns defense do enough to keep this game ugly? The Browns in an AFC North game, they have had potential in the past with that 2023 defense to keep the Ravens games a little ugly. And an ugly game always favors the Browns. They have a tendency to make any game ugly. Their defense is really, really good still, but I just don't trust their offense to move on the Ravens like one time. So I took Derrick Henry 2 touchdowns in this game, and I picked the Ravens to win by 2 scores.
I just hate AFC North games. Like it's just
it's so impossible.
It is. Like it just feels like this should be a slaughter. This looks like it could not be televised without it getting like taken off like the internet for
not getting monetized for this one.
Yeah, like it just feels like it should be flat out abuse, but it just won't be. I'm sure Myles Garrett will find a way to keep it close, and it just, I'll take them in Survivor this week, and I'll be sitting there halfway through the fourth quarter wondering why they're only up by 4 points, and then Joe Flacco will have a chance at the end of the game to drive down the field and win it. He won't, but it'll just have me shitting bricks for a minute and a half because the Ravens kept it close the whole time. That's just what's going to happen. I can see it already. But they should win.
Yeah, they should win. And it will be the Ravens. And that's all I have to say for the sake of time, because there shouldn't be too much time on that game. Like, there's nothing analytical I can say to tell you that the Browns have a chance outside of just crazy Stefanski witch magic that they seem to conjure up every so often.
They're literally 11.5 point favorites. Like, they cannot lose this game. I will puke. Well, what I won't puke at is a game that I think will be pretty entertaining considering the outcomes from them we saw last week. And my question, this is for the Denver and Colts game. Will Bo Nix bounce back, or what? Let me start that over. What is more likely to happen? Bo Nix bouncing back or Daniel Jones continuing his momentum?
I think betting on the better QB against the worst defenses is usually the safe way to go. I mean, Daniel Jones looked awesome, man. Like, if I pulled a Mongolian boy and put him in front of that screen and said, watch this quarterback, he'd be like, wow, he's really good. Daniel Jones being, if he didn't know who Daniel Jones was before. But if you know who Daniel Jones is and you know, kind of how up and down he's been throughout his career, you don't want to bet on that to happen again. Like, it's just not something like you just don't do that. You don't bet on Daniel Jones, but he looked good. Like, it wasn't like the results were there and the film was bad. He was legit throwing beautiful footballs. They were layered well. He was maneuvering the pocket well. He made good decisions. He scored on every drive. He's the first person to do that, actually, since Daniel Jones. It's really incredible.
That was a stat. That's hilarious.
Yes, Daniel Jones is the first quarterback to score on every single drive since Daniel Jones did it his rookie season. But rookie Daniel Jones was the best version of Daniel Jones in a long time. So I do agree. He looked good. Bo Nix looked like shit against the Titans, but I think I'm just going to bet on the better coach, the better quarterback against the worst defense. Like, I just like my odds there. They're a little better, but I have no reason for that. Like, I don't trust Bo Nix that much at all, actually. That's just, I'm just saying that just because. Honestly, I have no basis for that.
Well, it was horrifying. I mean, Nix looked like how people expected Daniel Jones to look. He could not read cover 2 from cover 3. He couldn't read man from zone. He couldn't read a children's book if he tried. I mean, he threw into coverage so many times, and I'm sitting there like shitting myself because I have the Broncos in Survivor, and I'm like, bro, it's not that hard, man. It's not. He was making it look impossible. And then, of course, he leads that drive right before half, and they score a touchdown. But then after that, it just was back to the same, like, scratching and clawing for yards. Like, their run game was really not very existent. They ended up getting a 15-yard rush out of J.K. Dobbins for a touchdown, and R.J. Harvey ripped a big one off. But other than that, they struggled in that regard. And the typical like bootleg run game type of offense that Sean Payton likes to implement with the layered crossers, it just wasn't working. Like Bo Nix was throwing into coverage every time. And the Colts defense, I think, is getting discounted a little bit too much. I think Tua looked awful, but I think they made his life tough too. Like the offensive line was getting congested pretty quick. Tua was having to move around in the pocket, and he was uncomfortable pretty often. And I think that was a testament to how much Lou Anarumo put in preparation-wise and how much Shane Steichen put in preparation-wise for that offense. And even Daniel Jones said, I think he was talking about O'Connell's system, but I think he was kind of layering the compliment on for Indianapolis as well. They were prepared. So if Bo Nix looks like that again, man, the Colts could bounce back or could win again. But at the same time, I don't know. There's no way Bo Nix is that bad again, right? Like, there's no way, right?
I mean, he was like what, like the sixth quarterback drafted in these fantasy drafts. Like, it was like the top four, like maybe Jalen Hurts and Burrow, and then it was like Baker and Bo Nix for like the next two. And Bo Nix looked, he just didn't look like any of those guys at all, and he couldn't even get the run game going for himself. Like people kind of thought he had some wheels, but he didn't really show him off a whole ton. So I am worried. I am very worried about him, especially because the whole thing about him as a prospect was he kind of felt limited in what he was able to create. And the whole beautiful thing about him was he could read defense as well, make good decisions, and be that perfect Sean Payton quarterback. But if he can't read the defense, like if he's in mental jail by Arden Key, that's a problem. And Draymond Jones, like, why is that guy giving you mental problems? That's not good. So we hope he can keep it up, but like the thing that Lou Anarumo does is confuse people. Like I think one of the issues he has is he confuses his own defense a lot and put people in the wrong spots, but he does a good job. And that's why he had success against Mahomes and Josh Allen so much, was he can confuse some quarterbacks pretty well. Like some quarterbacks, he has their number. Some quarterbacks have his number. Apparently he has Tua's number because he's gotten the best of him multiple times throughout his career. So we hope he can have Bo Nix number. He did last year, even with a pretty shitty Bengals defense. So I think it's possible.
It certainly is. I am going to take the Broncos, though, just to err on the side of caution. As much as I'm a big Daniel Jones believer and lover, I think that was a great game from him. I won't bet it to happen twice until I see it happen twice. So
no, stand on it. Stand on that Mr. Upside.
Not against. I can't. Not against.
Print those defense. T-shirts.
If it wasn't against the Broncos defense, I couldn't.
Yeah. You give your two favorite players playing in this game, Daniel Jones and Cortland Sutton.
I know. My
awesome?
God, I did not even make
You're
that
printing
connection.
T-shirts either way.
Could you imagine if
Cortland Sutton
scores?
catches another touchdown? Yeah, what if Sutton gets like 150 and a touchdown and Daniel Jones throws for like 300 and a touchdown? Like,
my God,
you're printing the T-shirts. You're calling the company.
It might turn into the most obnoxious
get the ink
ever. When Sutton scored that touchdown right before half, I was losing my mind.
Oh my gosh. Like did nothing all game and then just caught that bomb. It was a great catch. It was a great catch, but all right.
Well,
I also picked the Broncos because that's like this. It feels like the smart thing to do. Like I also have no basis for that. They looked horrible and the Colts look great, but I feel like I'm not trying to overthink here. I'm picking the better team.
Yeah, I feel like that's what you have to do early on. I think I did a little bit too much overthinking in week one, and I'm going to try to tone it back a little bit. But one thing I won't overthink is how much Tyler Warren matters to the Colts offense. And I don't know what his receptions line will be yet, but whatever it is, I'm going over. I went over 3.5. I bet that last week. He had 4 catches in the first 3 drives. So I'm going to bet that again. I'm just going to keep going back to the watering hole.
Sure.
And Tyler Warren goes for over his, I assume, 3.5, 4.5 receptions.
Yeah. Well, for the next game, we're going 2 teams that did not look great, but have potential to be the Panthers versus the Cardinals.
Potential.
2 teams that have potential. They have the upside. Bryce Young is Mr. Upside. But my thing was, can either offense get their shit together? Because neither team could run the ball. Neither team looked great passing. And these were two teams that kind of had a lot of hype coming into this season, and both looked pretty bad. The Cardinals won the game, but like we said, they were pretty stale, and the Panthers got routed by the Jaguars pretty bad. So who can get their shit together quicker, Panthers or the Cardinals?
It's got to be the Cardinals, only because the Panthers defense is so bad. Like, I think the Panthers defense generated I think their pressure rate was like 9% last week. Like, that is atrociously
that was what it was last
bad.
year. They didn't fix it, and that was my whole problem. I'm not going to get emotional about it like usual, but like they're like, this is a wild card team. No,
No, it's not.
It's not. Look at the roster. Jesus Christ, it's bad.
It's terrible, and I think the Cardinals of all teams are built to punish that. I mean, I think if Kyler does have, I mean, he had time last week in the pocket, so as long as he doesn't malfunction, he should have his way with Marvin downfield. James Conner should have more room to run this game. Like, I don't know. I just don't see a universe where this Carolina defense, stops anybody. Like, this might be the worst defense in football all year long.
And that's why I picked Trey McBride over 57.5 receiving yards, which felt pretty disrespectful. I mean, last week in a pretty mild game for him, he had over 60. So I'm pretty confused why 57.5 was his line, which it might have been a random line that might not have been the official line yet. But if that's the line, you smashed that over, because who's going to guard him? Like Nick Scott, Trevin Wallace, like who on that team is guarding him? Like, the Saints at least have some guys in the middle. They have good linebackers. That's like the Panthers' biggest issue is their linebackers, safeties, and edge rushers. Like, Trey McBride might score 400 yards. He might actually get that many.
Yeah.
He might get a million yards.
As long as James Conner doesn't have a million yards first, then McBride's next to line.
Yeah.
So only one of them can have a million yards.
I did say the Cardinals win this game in a fun way. Like, both teams looked ugly last time. I think this is one of those games that's on Red Zone a lot because both teams are just having like really fun plays. I think Ted McMillan and Marv can make some fun catches downfield. I think this could be a really exciting game to watch and to tune in on. But overall, Cardinals still win. Panthers start 0-2.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't think anybody can be picking the Panthers right now. They fall in that Giants Dolphins bucket. Just three teams that are just atrocious right now. So yeah, comfortably taking the Cardinals. The next game is the biggest one on the slate, in my opinion. The Eagles and the Chiefs. Both teams, two more teams that really didn't live up to expectation. And my question for you is, will the Chiefs take away A.J. Brown just like the Cowboys secondary took away A.J. Brown?
I think they could very well do that. I mean, Trent McDuffie might not have the size, but he's a scrappy-ass dude, man. Like, if there's one corner I want to just be physical for physical with A.J. Brown, have a safety over him, I think it's very, very possible. His route tree isn't impressive. He kind of wins in two ways, and that's slants and go routes. And Dallas took that away pretty well. I think I would be probably a little bit more concerned about Devontae Smith in this game without the real presence of like a true slot, which is also partially why, like, I don't know. I feel like they're just susceptible in that way. But perimeter wise, I think that Spags is smart enough to not get demolished by A.J. Brown. But you never know, because A.J. Brown's one of the receivers that's kind of like scheme proof in a way sometimes. When he's targeted, there aren't a lot of receivers I would rather prefer at the catch point on deep balls, out physicaling you, out boxing you out. It almost just didn't seem like that was Philly's game plan. Like, they wanted to run the ball. They wanted to get the tight ends involved. And they wanted to win a pretty clean game without getting anybody hurt, and they did. But I think weapons for weapons, Philly's got them pretty bad.
Yeah, I like, part of me wants to say, oh, the Chiefs are going to get their revenge against the Eagles for the ass kicking they gave them. But the Chiefs not only looked disorganized and they were having internal conflict and they looked sloppy and the communication was bad. Like, the Chiefs just came out looking unprepared, which is very unlike them. But they also just are hurt. Like, I don't think Jalen Royals is playing this week. It sounds like he's trending that way. Xavier Worthy's likely out. with his shoulder, even though it doesn't sound like he's going to IR. So the weapons are just slim. The Eagles will have Jalen Carter back after Spitgate. He did serve his 1-game suspension that day, I guess.
Bogus. That's cheap.
I agree. So Spitgate is resolved. Carter will be back. And I did like your point about Devontae Smith, because I do think the Chiefs will continue to make a focused effort like the Cowboys did to take away A.J. Brown. But unlike the Cowboys, I think the Chiefs will be able to really stuff Saquon and force Jalen into throwing a bit more downfield. And even if he isn't able to do it as consistently as he was in the Super Bowl, I do think there's just so many breakdowns that we saw on the secondary's part for Kansas City last week that I can see Devontae Smith leaking deep. Maybe they hit one of play action shot downfield to Smith. Similar, they hit Dotson on one last week, right? I was like, oh yeah, there's Devontae Smith.
He was the only guy that made a play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's Smith. Oh no, wait, it's Dotson. Great.
The better player.
The better player. So
I love it.
This week.
I love plays where nobody gets fantasy points. I love them. It's like, who caught that pass? Robert Tonyan? No. Who's that white guy? Is that Kelsey? Oh, that was Justin Watson. Damn it. I love those. I love
that
those
happened in the Bengals game. Noah Fant touchdown.
Yeah. Like he's not some random player. I mean, he might be the new starting tight end.
Who's starting Noah Fant?
Huh?
Who's starting Noah
an
Fant?
Intellectual. An intellectual is starting Noah Fant. Someone big brained. But the Chiefs, like you were saying, they looked flat out bad. Like I was talking about earlier, if I brought in a Mongolian boy and I had him watch the last Chiefs game, he would tell me, if I could understand him, that was a horrible football team. Like he would tell me that team's picking first overall because they had no weapons. Hollywood Marquise Brown is the focal point of an offense again. It's 2019. Like this is bad. That was really bad. Hollywood Brown, 10 targets, baby. Let's go. That was awesome.
Yeah, for like 40
but
yards.
Bad if you're a Chiefs fan. Yeah, like legitimately. He had a big play to kind of make up for it, but it was bad. So I will take Philly in this game. They just have way too many dogs. Kansas City has one dog, and he wasn't that sharp last game, so Philly it is.
Yep, I'm going Philly. My pick for this game is Devontae Smith over whatever receiving yard line he is, and we already talked about why. I think we see a deep shot from him at some point in this game, just like we saw in the Super Bowl. So Devontae Smith, bring us home.
All right. So next game, probably the hardest to understand for me, was the Falcons and the Vikings. And my big question was, can JJ keep the momentum going from his awesome fourth quarter? Because he had a pretty shitty quarter 1 through 3. But last couple drives, man, JJ McCarthy looked like an NFL quarterback. So do you think he can keep that up? Or did he just kind of get lucky?
I think he can. I think it was all a confidence issue. I think McCarthy needed just one thing to go his way, and he would have started to kind of find his rhythm. Like even on the touchdown pass he threw to Justin Jefferson that kind of really kickstarted everything, the throw was kind of late. Like it wasn't on time. Like it just kind of ended up working out. He made the right read. He made a good throw, but it wasn't like one of those like step into strike throws that I was like, wow, man, he looks like he's standing in there and he's got all the confidence in the world. I didn't get that feeling from that pass. But then after that, that's when it started to come along. And I think he just needed, like I said, one of those plays that kind of filled his confidence tank up. And then from there, I think the team just rallied around him. That's when Jordan Mason really started to pick it up as well. Aaron Jones finally had some wiggle room. He had a big play to Jalen Naylor later in the game. So it really was just a confidence thing to me. I think he found that confidence, and I don't trust the Falcons secondary any more than I trust the Bears, no matter who's out there for Chicago. So I do think McCarthy can very easily just move right into week 2 and kind of look the part the way that kind of everyone expected him to.
I think he could, but man, the Falcons defense looked the part last week against Tampa. Like they looked sharp. Bucky Irving really couldn't get going on the ground. Like they kind of had him in a box. It's pretty rare for a Falcons defense to like be good. Like, I feel like my entire life, the Falcons have just had bad defenses, but they looked pretty good. And Baker looked good, like, but it kind of took him throwing some beautiful footballs for them to kind of get any offense going. Like, there wasn't a lot of guys open. But my kind of like, I guess, line, if you will, because they didn't have any for us, but I did say Bijan Robinson bounced back, rushes for 75 plus. So I'm not sure what his line is. Bump it up to 85 for all I care. I think Bijan Robinson has an 100-yard rushing game. The Vikings obviously showed pretty good run D against last week, but we're talking about DeAndre Swift here. And I think that Bijan Robinson, when he's not going up against like Vita Vea, can have a pretty good chance of finally busting off a few good rushes.
You mean you think he'll be better than 12 rushes for 24 yards? Which he was
I do
last
believe
week.
that, yes. I believe he gets more than 12. I hope he doesn't share with Tyler Algier as much as he did last year. But if you look at his receiving work, he had like 100-something yards receiving. So convert that to rushes and we're good.
Yeah, he had 100 yards receiving, 6 for 100. He led
insane.
the team. He led the team.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is.
But
that's kind of the whole thing with Atlanta is they just could not get anything going on the ground, and the Vikings defense is just, they look good again. Like, I think the entire game we were kind of contributing the Bears' struggles offensively to Caleb just not playing well, but I think the other side of the coin is the Vikings, which we didn't know at the time, were playing just great defense down the field. Like, there were so many reps where I'm like, man, I wonder what's happening in the secondary right now, because Caleb is bailing early and he's just not getting it out on time. Like, what's happening? And he was often getting pushed out of the pocket too. So I don't know if Michael Penix is going to be able to handle the pressure that Brian Flores throws at him any better than Caleb did. And it could lead to a lot of issues if they can't get the run game going. I think that they were lucky that Bijan ripped off a 70-yard run early in the game. Like, I think that was huge. They didn't really do much after that. They had one drive late. That was solid.
But I will say, this was the one game where I kind of ignored my logic and I went off of a vision. And this vision was the Falcons winning this game on a game-winning field goal. Which is kind of bad because they just lost the game because they couldn't make a field goal. But I had a vision. I see it now. I think the Falcons win a field goal right down the pipe.
Yeah, your faith in Young Wei Koo, do you?
I do. I love Young Wei Koo.
He sold them big time. Well, I am going to stick with the Vikings. If I'm going to presume that McCarthy keeps his momentum, I don't think there's anything stopping this Vikings team. I mean, if McCarthy was the wild card the whole time, and if he keeps this up, then good luck. Good luck to the rest of the North. I think they'll be the best chance to knock off the Packers.
Sure.
The Monday night slate, there's a doubleheader, which I hate. I fucking hate the doubleheaders. But
10 o'clock Eastern time is nasty for a game.
What are we doing here?
That's one of the games I was most excited about.
I know. And now it's on a Monday night. I'm like, we got to go to bed. Like, what the hell? But before that, we get the early bird special at 7 p.m. with the Bucs and the Texans. And verbatim from you, will CJ Stroud continue to chuck up fadeaway threes, or will he have more time in the pocket to pick Nico Collins up after his pretty disappointing week one?
I think they'll have a little more, but Tampa doesn't have a bad pass rush group by any means. I mean, Diaby's kind of just always like whenever you look at advanced pass rush stats, Diaby's always like top 10. He's an underrated player. Kalijah Kancey has really good interior pressure. Vita Vea is just a tank of a human being. They got some guys, and they can also, manufacture some pressure elsewhere. Antoine Winfield had a season once where he had 6 or 7 sacks. It was weird, but I do believe Tampa does have the dudes, maybe not to the degree that the Rams do, but I think that they also do have enough to make the game uncomfortable. But what they also have is a better secondary than the Rams do, in my opinion. So whatever they lack in that, I think there'll just be less guys open. And that's a worrisome thing.
Yeah. I mean, if this game goes anything like last week, there is some serious concerns about Houston. Like week 1, bad matchup, like actually worst matchup possible going into the season. But now I think the Bucs are about slightly above league average in terms of just a defensive unit on paper. Like they have, I think, somebody at every level. They're functional. Todd Bowles is good at his job. Like they have everything that you would need for a slightly above average defense. And if they can't have a decent day against this defense, then they're not going to have a chance. Even if they make the wild card game, they'll get fucking killed. So this is a measuring stick game for them, in my opinion. And I've had my faith in Houston for the offseason.
Yeah.
I'm not going to waver because of a game that I knew was going to go south for them in week 1. I'm going to stick to the Texans. I'm going to stick to them. I think the defense gives Baker issues just like Atlanta's defense did.
Yeah. I went Tampa, and kind of the same reasons. I've been having to back them up a lot this offseason because people are predicting them to come in second in the division and miss the playoffs, and they're a bad team because they lost Liam Cohen. A lot of people have predicted them to fall off, but I think they're still genuinely a good football team, and that's why they keep winning these games every single year and winning the division every year. And I think that Houston has possibly like the worst position group of all position groups in the NFL and that offensive line, and it can be exploited. And especially if Stingley's hurt and CJ Gardner-Johnson doesn't look as good as he did last season, like they got some problems. So if they can't manufacture a really good pass rush, and I have faith they will, but if they can't do that, I think Tampa runs away with it. If they can manufacture it, I think it's a close, scrappy game that I still think that Baker has the guts to come out on top with.
It's possible. This is going to be a good one. This will be one of the better games on the slate as well.
Dude.
I feel like there aren't a ton of like must watches this week, at least from a outside perspective, but this is one of them. I would say there's probably like 3 or 4. This is definitely on that list. And
CJ Stroud is constantly. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say my pick for this game, and it's just Nico Collins to go over whatever his 75.5 yards, something like that. It'll be if he can't come close to that margin, then they'll lose. They need him involved.
Nico to do anything actually would be really awesome. Like literally anything would be really cool. Not that 30 piece that he just put up. But yeah, this is definitely a test if Nick Caserio doesn't get beat up outside the stadium. Because if Stroud is throwing away fadeaways again, Nick Caserio might get shot. And not a good day to say that, actually. But still, Nick Caserio might get beat up. We'll say that.
Let's just move on. The 10 p.m. game. What's happening at 10 p.m. on Monday night? Tell us all.
Nick Caserio is getting beat up at 10 p.m. But then while he's being strangled, the Chargers and Raiders game will be going on the TV in the background. And my question says, can Genty move at all? Like, can he get moving whatsoever? Because against the Patriots' pretty mediocre defensive front, he was stuffed. Like literally every run stuffed. And the Chargers did a really good job of keeping the Chiefs' run game at bay. So can he overcome all these obstacles and get a good run game going finally?
I think it'll be better than last week. I'm not going to say it's going to be much better. Like you said, I mean, the Chargers gave the Chiefs' run game some fits, and I think that's definitely a contribution to some other issues the Chiefs had. I'm thinking about that joke. It's a contribution to other things going on that the Chiefs had, with their lack of weapons in the passing game. And, there was a lot of stuff happening for them. But the Chargers still got stingy up front, a lot stingier than I expected. Khalil Mack still looked like he was sipping from the fountain of youth. So, I mean, this is what I was thinking could happen with Genty. What we saw in week 1 is what we were afraid of. We talked about it after the first preseason game. He goes like 3 rushes for -4 yards, and then we're called like assholes for saying, "Oh my God, why would you say such a thing? It's one preseason game with 3 carries." Well, now here we are, week 1, and he had like 12 carries for like 30 yards, if that, whatever the stat line was.
It was actually, I think it was worse than that.
It was bad. I know that much.
I'm going to pull it up just so I don't feel like an idiot here.
Oh, it was 19 for 38 yards. Oof.
And how many yards per carry would that be?
2.
2 flat.
2.
2 yards per carry. And I think that, I mean, it was the Patriots also. Like, it wasn't like they're facing some Vita Vea level nose tackle behemoth. Like, it was Christian Barmore and like some normal looking dudes. Like, definitely not the kind of game that gives you any confidence in this offensive line. Like, they were blown back. And I remember a very specific comment I made months ago where I said my biggest fear for Genty is he becomes Ken Walker. In that he's a talented running back that has all of the, tackles avoided stats, all of the, after contact stats, that never is able to actually really become a star because of the offensive line and offense around him. And Ken Walker has avoided stardom because of a lack of efficiency, a lack of big numbers, a lack of staying healthy. And that is a worry for Genty. If he is having to run the ball this many times for this few yards and just get beaten up on over and over and over again because his offensive line is bad, I got worries. And I still think that he has potential to be a top 10 running back, top 5 running back even in the NFL if he can be who I think he can be. But right now, I'm scared for him.
Yeah, same. I mean, this game against the Patriots, I was thinking that if the Patriots are able to kind of stuff Genty, then I think the Raiders might have some issues, but they surprised me. Geno Smith had a hell of a game. He had just 10 incompletions on 34 pass attempts. He threw for a touchdown. He did throw a pick, but 362 yards is no joke. He had to do the heavy lifting for this offense. And if Drake May and company looked a little bit better, I think they would have won that game. But Geno Smith did his part, and that's kind of what has me teetering on the fence in this one. It's in Vegas. Even if Genty is getting stuffed again, it seems like Geno will be able to do enough to keep them fighting in this game, which it's not surprising. I love Geno, but on the other hand, I just didn't expect this offense to have the passing capabilities to throw for 362 yards in week 1, I guess is where I'm getting at. But
yeah,
I'm still going to go with the Chargers.
Yeah. So my line was, I think that Geno and Herbert combined for 650 passing yards, and that I think that they are both just going to tee off on the other one. I think the Chargers have the Chargers have a better chance of establishing a run game against the Raiders front than I think that the Raiders do, with the far superior back, in my opinion. I just don't think that run game stats are a running back stat. I think it's also an offensive line stat. And if you have an awesome running back that's getting beaten up in the backfield, that doesn't help you move the ball. But if a Marion Hampton can, grow eyes this game and use vision, then I think that the Chargers offensive line has a better chance of blowing the Raiders off the line and getting a run game going. So I did pick the Chargers to win another high scoring game, possibly a shootout game.
It could be fun. We've seen shootouts between these two teams before, specifically at the end of the end of last year, right? When we saw like 70 points put up by, it was the Raiders, right? Or was it the Chargers? Which one of them did it?
I remember a game like a year or two ago where Aiden O'Connell put up like that many against, who was that North Dakota State kid?
Easton Stick.
Yeah, he was playing QB and got crushed. He had like one good drive to start the game, and everyone's like, oh. And then it just went so downhill, and everyone's like, oh.
That game was legitimately like 60-30. That was ridiculous.
It was so bad.
Well, this one, half of the country will be asleep for. So if it happens again, then
me.
A lot of people won't see it.
Included.
But yeah, that will wrap up our analysis of week number 2. It's so fun. The football season's here. It's so fun.
I know, and we can actually go off of like previous games to make our picks now. We're not just guessing.
I know, and I hope it still kind of feels like it. Like I feel like after the first 4 weeks, we'll have a solid foundation of like who is what and what is real. But definitely helps to have some context to like know Russell Wilson is
Yes.
still shit. So that helps. But yeah, that's it for episode 61. If you guys enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, join our Discord down in the comment section description below, and join in on the football conversation, the fantasy football conversation, if you have any questions or thoughts. And we will see you in episode 62.